My role on this project was to bring the service user voice into it. This entailed supporting an advisory group of service users and also working with them to talk to actual patients on the participating trust sites. That involved ensuring our advisory group could feed into the steering group of the project. So on an ongoing basis from the start to the end, we've had input from 3 service users who have maintained input into the steering group and project meetings and really been a sounding board for the project team to bounce ideas off as it went. Then it also involved doing focus groups with service users at the actual sites that took part in the project. In those focus groups, we were asking service users what the value of a CARSS score might be, what they would like to see as the benefits of such a score being used, and also any unintended consequences, any concerns they might have about the score. What they told us was that they were really pleased that such research was going on. They loved the idea that researchers were looking into this idea of identifying deteriorating patients in a more sort of formalised manner than might be happening at the moment. So anything to improve that in hospitals they were really supportive of, and they loved the idea of the score. They did have a few concerns, however. The main one that came out from all the focus groups was the idea that such a score, being a computer score, should never override clinical judgment, which service users, patients, families, they value so highly. So that was one of their main concerns. They thought it could complement but not to override clinical judgment. They also wondered whether the score could perform a really interesting role, which was to highlight the need for more communication and conversations around deterioration and end-of-life care planning. Now, this was something that the researchers developing the score hadn't really had as an intention from the outset, but it was something that the service users sort of leapt upon really as being a potential use of the score. The qualitative work that we carried out with service users fed into the whole project in a couple of ways, I think. Firstly, I think it really supported the concerns of staff that this sort of score and this system is never there to replace clinical judgment, but it's there to support it. Secondly, I think the idea that the service users had raised about perhaps this score helping with communication really fed into the way that the project has developed, and this has become something that now is a focus for the research project and how CARSS has developed into the future when it wasn't a focus in the outset. So it's the shape of the project has changed from being about a computer risk score to something that is actually a communication aid. Next, the project's going to be tested on a small scale in some pilot sites, and the service users are really keen to continue their engagement in the development of the score and its implementation. They're really keen to support staff in its implementation, recognising that anything they can do to help staff to develop the service is something they wish to contribute to.